Welcome to Women in the Middle Entrepreneurs, the podcast that gives you an unfiltered behind-the-scenes look at what it's really like being a woman in the middle who's over 50 and following her entrepreneurial dreams. Grab a superhero cape, girlfriend, because you deserve one. I'm your host, Master Certified Life Coach and Midlife Mentor, Suzy Rosenstein, and I am excited to inspire you with interviews that feature all of this midlife amazingness. Let's go. Hey there, welcome back to the show. We have a really exciting interview ahead of us about a serial entrepreneur who went from hairdresser to educational consultant and more. Today, you'll be meeting Marla Martinez, a woman in the middle who is a course consultant who has now scaled a few side hustles into successful businesses as well. Welcome to the show, Marla. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Suzy. I'm excited to be here today.
Oh my gosh. When you started talking about the Caribbean, I was like, can't wait to talk to her. Okay. I know we're going to have a great conversation about your unique midlife entrepreneur story. We're going to be talking about your businesses actually, what's going really well, and also what midlife issues might be getting in your way, even a little bit, and are challenging for you in your life as well as being a business owner. So I'm going to start out with my favorite question, how old you are, how long you've been an entrepreneur, and what your entrepreneurial story was like, and a little bit about what you're doing now. So take it away.
There we go. So start the rant. So I am 55 and I have always been an entrepreneur. Like even in high school, I had gymnastics programs, or I was a hairdresser. And, when I moved to this small town in Alabama, I just didn't find a salon that I really felt like I fit into. So I'm just said, well, I'll just start my own. So I did. I started my own, and then I sold that business and went back to school for education and to be a teacher. And I still kind of was working as on the side and doing other things. I've always kind of been one of those personalities, multi-passionate, personalities that like to do lots of different things. And then I moved after teaching. I moved into director of educational technology kind of role at a private school in California, and ended up doing my master's at Pepperdine in educational leadership, which led me to curriculum and instruction. And after that, I ended up consulting with a technology firm out of Portland, Oregon, helping teachers curriculum map their curriculum, what they teach, when they teach, how they teach it, so that schools could better analyze and review curriculum, horizontal and vertical, and find gaps and redundancies and opportunities, and more about, team building and conversations. And so the leadership piece I really liked, and I love the creativity I can do with the curriculum piece and how the brain learns, which is really kind of where my interest lies. But then in 2007, I visited Isla Mujeres, Mexico, and I loved my job consulting and traveling all over the world, working with schools internationally, making more money than I'd ever made in my life. Like I never even thought about that. And, I kept coming on vacation to this island that's 5 miles long and, meeting other expats that live here, and was just like, well, other people get to live there. Why don't I get to live there? And so I opened this Google Doc and created this. I still have it. It's called the Escape Plan. And I started mapping out how I was going to quit my job, sell my house, sell my car, and move to a Caribbean island. And
you might as well use your degree.
I know, right? And I just said, you know what? If I have to move back to the States and work until I retire like the rest of the world, okay. And 13 years later, I'm still here. And, that whole entrepreneurial spirit is what really kept me here, because I moved here, and it's, how entrepreneurs, you look for the need to fill the need. And, there were property manager that kind of got booted off the island. And so there were properties that needed to be managed, and they just needed somebody who was smart and organized and trustworthy. And I'm like, I can do that. And so I started managing properties, and then people needed websites and social media marketing and all of that. So I just kind of started filling needs. And then when I would live here and meet people, they would say, what, you live here? What do you mean you live here? What do you do when you live here? And we would say, well, my husband's a guitarist and likes to cook. And I'm like, well, we get together and we play guitar and eat good food. And they're like, well, I want to do that. And so the business Dinnertainment was born. And so we started doing Dinnertainment. And if you rented a villa, we would come to your house and bring the margaritas and the food, and Javi would play guitar. And now that business has scaled 6 times.
Oh my God.
Over. And, in 2016, we were like, well, maybe we should get the prep kitchen out of our house. And so we took Kavi's grandmother's house and opened a little restaurant, what we called a restaurant. And that took off. And we're like, well, okay, here we go. We have a restaurant and a catering business. And one of the websites I built was doing vacation rentals. And she had about 10 little properties on it. And she said, I'm kind of tired of doing this. Do you want to take it over? And I said, okay. So I took it. And now I have 100 properties on that website and have built it. And it scaled 2 times what it did last year already. And so these businesses are scaling, and I'm really loving that and learning a lot. Even though I'm 55 and, have master's degree, I learned all the time and I love it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, hang on. You glossed over so much here, Marla. Slow down.
Yeah,
So exciting. Okay, I want to go back to one tiny thing you said. It was just that tiny thing of quitting your job, selling your house, selling your car, and moving. How long was it between that idea and that mapped spreadsheet that you created and actually getting the hell out of there?
About a year.
What?
A year and a half.
How old were you when you did that?
45, I guess, or 43, 42, 43, something like that.
Did you have a husband yet?
No.
You met him on the island?
Yeah. I mean, he was here and we were kind of dating. I mean, we lived together the whole time since I've been here, but yeah.
Okay. That is such a cool story.
Yeah.
And half of it wasn't even in your notes.
No. Yeah. Yeah. That just kind of, take things as they come and capitalize on them. Isn't that part of being an entrepreneur?
Yes, but it's not part of the way a lot of people think. And a lot of even entrepreneurs have more, risk aversion than I think you do, actually.
Right. Well, and like what we were talking about, age does play into that. I mean, how old was I then? I was, that was 13 years ago. And I'm very different now. Like I used to run circles around people, and think, what do you mean you can't do that? Get out of the way. I'll just do it for you. I'm probably going to do it faster and better anyway. And, so now I'm like, feel completely different. I'm like, what is wrong with me? I'm ready to go to bed. I am tired. I am irritable and I have more anxiety than I've ever had in my entire life.
Oh, okay. So now you're getting into this, what sometimes I call a hiccup, this weird intersection between wanting to run the business the way either you used to do on autopilot or the way you want to, and the way midlife challenges, classic issues, and what I call hiccups rear their ugly head and come in the way of the way you really want to run your business. So tell me a little bit about that. Are you noticing some energy shifts?
Definitely. And just everything that goes along with menopause. Yeah. And you kind of just, when you're a high functioning person, like I feel like I've always have been to a fault, you kind of just push through it and ignore it.
Yeah.
And then see someone else kind of complaining about it. I think, well, I have that too. I'm like, oh, I have that too. What, you mean that's not normal? What, and then you start questioning all of it and just things that go wrong in your body that you think, well, I'm just getting older. I'm like, no, I'm 55-year-old woman who's, had a full hysterectomy and gone through menopause. Yeah, that's the hell I'm in. And you just push through it. But I noticed my push through is a little different than it was 13 years ago.
Mm-hmm. So you're a little tireder. How's your sleep? Is that coming into the energy thing? Or are you finding it just more the way you feel lately?
When I'm having, which I guess sounds kind of normal, when you have stress, you sleep worse. But, I just find that I handle my stress differently and it shows itself in my skin, like with skin issues or things like that I just never really would have related for someone my age. But now I'm kind of learning that it is related.
Yeah. Okay. So you've had this entrepreneurial mindset where you see opportunities, you love to help, you throw yourself in, you've gotten really good at business growth. So you're like, oh my God, this is probably going to do well. Let me sprinkle some of my Marla juice on it and sprinkle, whatever. Yeah. So you've got a lot of experience here that you draw from, but you also mentioned that you struggle a little bit with work-life balance. And I can totally see how that might happen because you're on fire.
Yeah. I recently, in the last couple of well, during the pandemic, we kind of stopped there that, everything shut down. No one could even come to the island. So I had to refund tens of thousands of dollars in canceled vacations that, I had booked for people. So I refunded all of that and no one could come. So all of our income streams were coming from the island. And so that was when I started thinking, okay, we need to rethink this. I need some other online, income streams. And one of the ways that we do that is this live show that we do every Friday, that we have a virtual tip jar that we sing for our supper, basically. But that was how we paid our employees at the restaurant. We have 15 employees that were depending on us. And I wasn't going to tell them, sorry, they have families too. So we just did whatever side hustle we could do to make some money. And then people, that was when the online course world kind of blew up because everybody was online. And I would go through these courses and stuff that I wanted to learn. I'm like, oh, you know what? If they did this like this, this could optimize this course and make it so much better. And so then I started deconstructing people's online courses for fun and mapping it out and saying, here's the way I would think you should do it. And based on brain research and all of that. And so I really started doing a lot of that. And I love that. It's a passion project. I love it. I love it. And, one of the things that I kind of lost my rant there, but, one of the things that I want to do when I retire at 60, that's kind of my little exit strategy, is I would like to do more just working with entrepreneurs in their online courses and online learning.
Oh, that's great. That's the second question I wanted to ask you. So I just wanted to circle back. See, it takes a few of us to work together to remember where we were. Okay, so it was the work-life balance thing. So so COVID messed things up, and you had to redo. So
you're right. Now I thank you. So about 2 years ago, I ended up hiring VAs from the Philippines. So now I have 4 VAs full-time. And 3 part-times, and just hired another actually to help. And you would think I'm hiring and training, I'm doing leadership training, I'm doing sales trainings, I'm doing all these things so that these people can help me. And they do. And we are growing, but I tend to just fill my plate with more things instead of balancing my work and life. That was where I was going with that. That, even though I hire people to help me, and I allow them to do their jobs, I just continue to find those opportunities and, think I need to capitalize on them. And, I used to have on a vinyl sticker on my laptop that said, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah.
So I really need to listen to that more.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. So now you were going to, what was it that you were going to say? Now I forgot because I cut you off. Oh,
no.
It was the exit strategy. There we go.
Yeah, the exit strategy.
When you turn 60.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm having a little crack up. This is hilarious. The two of us. Okay. Go ahead. Exit
together, we might keep this on track.
I think that's a good plan. Go ahead. So what are your thoughts about that? Because you've set yourself 5 years.
Yeah. And I've kind of approached it, I think, incorrectly, because I've kind of thought about it from obviously the financial standpoint part of it. And, my idea is I live in Mexico. I can live off, what we make here with Javi's businesses. And then my businesses can go all directly into my retirement. And so that was sort of the overall plan. But then I never really thought about, but what does it really look like to stop doing one of those businesses that you've spent 13 years putting every blood, sweat, and tear into? And then how do you walk away from that? That part I have not figured out yet. I have to be honest. I don't know that answer. But I have a few years to figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Well, tell me more about menopause, because we were very quick about menopause. But, one thing I'm hearing over and over is that, menopause is such a surprise for so many of us. You'd think that overachieving, motivated, curious women like entrepreneurs would be equally as curious as what's going on in their body. And it's not that we're not curious, but we're not educated. Like for some reason, either the information's not out there or it's out there and we don't appreciate or understand the literacy we need to decipher and assess. And it's like such a mystery. So how is this showing up for you?
Confusion. I'm confused because there are so many different schools of thought. And, I'm working with a naturopath to kind of really look at my hormones.
What are you thinking now about hormones and running your business? Do you have the information you need?
Yes, I feel like I'm just going to continue on that natural path for right now and testing and trying different things and looking at numbers and then make decisions based on that. I mean, that's all I know to do right now. How does it impact my business? I've just kind of learned to cope, and I think that's just part of being a resilient business owner. And maybe entrepreneurship even prepares us for that, because you just sort of take what's there and make something out of it to make it work. And I think that's what I do. I make it work. And a lot of times I just have to say, you know what? It's okay to do nothing today. It doesn't, busyness does not define success, and, get over yourself.
So tell me more about the seasonal aspect of your work and where you live.
So on the island, our high season starts probably Christmas and goes through end of May. And then we have a summer kind of mid-season. And then September, October, November, and most of December are all kind of really low seasons. In Spanish, the word for hungry is hambre. And so they call September, which is septiembre, they call it septiembre. So it's this hungry time of the year. And it's true. So this year, I'm trying something different financially to really save everything we need for a low season, like to make it by the end of August. So I have a goal and we're on track. But, life has to go on. And if you stop, someone else is going to fill your gap. So, there's a matter of kind of maintaining your relevance and staying in top of the market and being seen. And even though you're trying to take a break. So balancing all of that has been kind of interesting, but it's definitely seasonal.
Well, what surprised you? Like the businesses that you're running are so different. So when I'm just looking, like a restaurant, it really is an outlier, coming from that entertainment. What did you call it? Dinnertainment?
Dinnertainment.
It's like such a beautiful idea of combining it. But
Right.
That and the catering is like, not everybody thinks to do that. So what have you learned from that whole experience? It's nothing like, being a hairdresser. It's completely different than your roots or working as an educational consultant. So what have you learned from all that?
Running someone's vacation is, I always say it's kind of like running a school. You have a lot of different players and you just are removing obstacles for people and making sure people have what they need to be happy and have a good time. And so whenever I would book a reservation, I'm like, oh, it's great. You're coming to the island. Have you been before? Is there anything specific you want to do? Are you celebrating something? Oh, you're coming for your wife's 50th birthday. Great. You might want to look at dinnertainment. We come to your villa. You've rented this fantastic villa and you have 12 people with you. Do you know how hard it is to get 12 people in the same restaurant, all like in the same thing? We'll just come to you and bring the party to you. You've already rented it. Why not make your memory there? It's more than just a meal. It's a memory. And you're here for several days. Oh, these are the great restaurants. We're already paying rent on our restaurant for dinnertainment. So I might as well get people in there. We have Mexican fiesta nights on Tuesdays and Thursdays where we have traditional dancers. So we're more than just dinner. It's kind of dinner and a show kind of thing. So it's about hospitality. I'm a Southern woman. I grew up in Alabama. It's hospitality. It's making people enjoy your place where I live, that, when I want them to love it as much as I do.
Wow. And is your business a lot about people returning?
It is. I mean, you would think vacation is something people take once a year, but here, I mean, we are right off the coast of Cancun. My website is islavacay.com. You can actually go to onisla, onisla.com, and that has all of our businesses there because it's kind of like a one-stop shop. We can help you with anything that you want help with, basically.
Kind of like an island concierge.
Yes, exactly. And so being able to just pull all of that together for an experience.
And what did you learn from running a restaurant, running this dining, entertainment, focus on hospitality? Because hospitality isn't what you originally started out doing.
No. And, the restaurant was sort of not even an intentional thing. I mean, we did not set out. I've never worked in a restaurant other than, waiting tables here and there. Didn't do it in college. I mean, I don't have a lot of experience in it at all. I did it because I thought it'd be fun for a little while. And it was. But the business side of it, figuring that out, I love that. But, the restaurant is kind of secondary really to the catering. but we just kind of make it all work together. And we have all these different resources and the audience is the same. So, and rather than finding an audience, we can get in front of that same audience with different products and based on what people need. And because we are just off the coast of Cancun, it is easy to get to. It's safe. We have a Navy base that's also a training facility on the island. So we don't have the same kind of crime that the news makes everyone feel. So we do have a lot of repeat visitors. And so we are able to market to them.
No, I think I'm going to be one of these visitors. This is
come on down.
How's the internet? Good.
Well, it can be sketchy, but
Yeah, that's the thing with islands. It's about the internet, but it just sounds beautiful. So would you say before you hatched the plan, when you were a little girl, did you dream about this kind of a lifestyle?
No,
yeah.
I was a small town Alabama girl. Never thought, when I first moved out of, the South and moved to Los Angeles, California in 2000, I was an adult, a 30-something-year-old adult, but my mother was in tears. I'm like, Mom, it's California. It's not a foreign country. And, then when I moved to Mexico, people would say, oh, how's Marla? She's living in Mexico. Oh, of course she is. So I've kind of always been that person to kind of venture out of the small town and do what people don't expect. That has always been me. Yes. But did I think I would be here? No.
I guess that's really what I'm getting because, we haven't been best friends for that long yet anyway. But what I'm getting is you're like an accidental entrepreneurial success story, really. You always had it in you. You had the curiosity, you had the spirit, the energy, and enough risk tolerance to make a quick assessment and dive in very quickly. Even the way you made your decision to sell everything uproot, especially coming from those solid Alabama roots and everything, and dive into such an alternative lifestyle for most Americans, I guess. And then you just keep trying this new stuff. It's fascinating to me because, a lot that comes up with midlife women, there's a lot of fear. There's a lot of fear of change. There's a lot of fear with people weighing, how many years do they have to make this work? And if there's like too much change, then it's too much stress,
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't sound like those are things that get in your way. You're more pile it on until I crumble type of gal.
Yes. Right on. Suzy, you hit the nail on the head. That is exactly.
Yes. Very interesting. Wow. I love it. Okay. So tell me more about the business that you are, that you think will work the best. You said that in terms of the course creator business, you don't really see yourself scaling that to massive business.
Correct. I see that as something that I do one-on-one with entrepreneurs after I retire. That's sort of the idea because I love it. I mean, I truly love it. And I feel like it's something that I'm good at. And, I know how the brain learns. I know how content should be optimized for a learner experience. I can look at a course and deconstruct it and map it out how it should be so that it flows correctly. But I don't want to create another huge empire around it.
Yeah, that's pretty clear. That's awesome. Okay, so how can people best get in touch with you? Because I think I'm not going to be the only one who's going to come to you in person.
Well, if you want to come to Isla Mujeres, Mexico, we're safe. It's easy to get to, fly into Cancun, when we help every step of the way. The best website for that is onisla.com, onisla.com. If you want me to look at your course and help you optimize it, I can do that as well. And that's refocusedincome.com.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Marla. Thank you for taking the time from your day, because I'm sure it's beautiful as anything where you are, and sharing all of this. I really appreciate how you've been an entrepreneur for years and how you have that spirit. You don't mind being a beginner. You're still learning and growing. It's amazing. I really love what you're doing, and your spunk, your entrepreneurial spunk is so good. So thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. I really enjoyed talking with you and getting to just hear more about your platform and your audience and how I fit in it. So I'm looking forward to listening to the other episodes.
Oh my God, you're totally a good fit. That's for sure. So that's it for now. If you're listening and loving what you hear, please like and subscribe. Reviews are great too and much appreciated. And if you're a woman in the middle who's 50 or over and an entrepreneur and would like to come on the show, please go to www.midlifeinterviews.com and fill out an application. We'd love to have you on to share your story. Thanks so much for listening. It's never too late for you to put yourself on your agenda. I'm Suzy Rosenstein, and I'll talk to you again soon. Now, real quick before we say goodbye, if you are connecting with this show, I'd love to invite you to a happiness breakthrough coaching session. It's my laser-focused coaching call that will help you get clear about what's getting in your way as a woman in the middle entrepreneur and confident about your next steps to more happiness in your next chapter. Head over to www.nextchapterbreakthrough.com. Talk to you soon.